Hello and welcome everyone. So in the previous classes we have started with the development of microbiology, the historical perspectives, and today we are going to be seeing the development of various microbiological techniques. Now in the previous class we have talked about something called the nutrient media, or where the bacterial cultures are grown. So this is what is a nutrient media, where the bacterial culture is growing. Now briefly, if I talk about a nutrient media, basically again I am just repeating once more. So here if I see, there is a petri dish. Say for example we take a petri dish, the example that we are showing in these pictures. What they have done is they have taken a petri dish. Inside the petri dish they have put something called agar, and they have put some nutrients, some nutrients, and together they are forming a nutrient media. What kind of nutrient media? It's a solid nutrient media. Now this is covered and all these things are done in very sterile conditions. Here we'll see after some days, if I put some bacterial culture over here, if I inoculate it with some bacterial culture, then we'll see the bacterial culture growing on this petri dish, same as the thing that we see in these pictures. This is what is the meaning of culturing. Now to understand, so this is basically culturing. Now we are going to be understanding what is a pure culture and what is a mixed culture. Now first let us try to understand the kind of asexual reproduction that takes place in the microorganisms. Basically, microorganisms grow from 1 to 2 by simple binary fission. This results into many microorganisms growing from the same ancestor. As asexual reproduction involves only single parent, hence the genetic makeup of the parent is same as the offspring. In parents is same as the offsprings. So this is the reason because of which we can try to see a bunch of bacteria which is growing from the same organism. It will be resulting into a group of bacteria which are known as colonies. So this is a colony, say. Now here is the example of a colony. These purple ones that we are seeing are the colonies. This one is also a colony. This is also a colony. So you can see over here, you can see 4 colonies. But all the 4 colonies have different ancestors. All the 4 colonies have different ancestors, but they are the colonies of the same kind of bacteria because all of them are purple. Okay, so let's now see what if I put some of this, if I see some of this kind of bacteria also. Now these are also colonies. These yellow ones are also colonies, right? These yellow ones are also colonies. But even if they are colonies, they are going to be colony of a different bacteria. So initially when the yellows were not there, only the purple ones were there, that is known as pure culture. Whereas when I am inputting, when I can see the yellow organisms growing over there too, we call it a mixed culture. So here you can see this is a pure culture. And each of the colonies, that is this round structures, each of these round structures, they may have all grown from the same ancestor. Each of this structure has grown from one single ancestor. But together they are forming a pure culture, and all of them may not be growing from the same ancestor. Like for example, over here 1 and 2 have grown from different ancestors, but they are of the same type of bacteria. Whereas this purple and this yellow one, they are totally different from each other. So together they are forming a mixed culture. Now I hope you have understood the difference between colonies, pure culture, and let's try to see a mixed culture example also. Here you see this one is having a different shape compared to this one or this one. So basically this one is different, this one is different, as well as these are also going to be different. So here we can see a bunch of organisms growing. We don't know they are fungi or bacteria or whatever it is, but they are all different from each other because they are forming different colonies, they are having different characteristics. So I hope till now it is clear to you the meaning of colonies, pure culture and mixed culture. Now what is the importance of mixed culture, or what is the importance of pure culture? See, if I have a mixed culture, I can actually differentiate between all the different kinds of microorganisms growing over here. But in a pure culture, it will be helping us to understand about the different structures in a better way. So it helps us to understand the structure of the organism, morphology of the organism, functions that we can extract from the organisms. So this will be the function of studying microorganisms in a pure culture. Now, who was the first person to discover a pure culture? Now, here when we are talking about culturing, we are always talking about a substance called agar. Now, this agar is actually a substratum that will be creating the space, the ground on which the microorganisms are grown. What if I don't give this agar? What if I just take a test tube, and inside the test tube I just take some nutrients, okay? If I just take some nutrients only without anything called agar, this is known as a liquid media. This is also a possibility. If you, for example, if you just keep the milk in open for a long time, you will see it starts spoiling, right? That's because the microorganisms are growing in it. When microorganism starts to grow in it, that is kind of a media, okay? It's actually a nutrient media. Nutrient media is anything where microorganisms can grow. It can be solid, it can be liquid. So here we see when microorganisms are growing in a milk, basically the milk over here acts as a nutrient media, but since we didn't give any agar over here, so it is remaining liquid, so it's a liquid media. Now, the first thing that was discovered was a liquid media. So it was done by Joseph Lister. The liquid media was discovered by Joseph Lister. What he did was, he did a serial dilution. In serial dilution, what is done is, we take lots of media in different containers. We take a little of this and put over here, then a little of this liquid media and put over here, and then we continue it multiple times. So the ultimately that the thing that we'll be getting will be having much lesser number of microorganisms from the starting point. In the starting point, the number of microorganisms, if it was 10,000, it may get decreased to about 10 or about 100. Okay, so this is just something, a very arbitrary count It's not that it is always true. So we are taking a little of this, little of mixture from here, we mix it here. Then again we take a little of this from here, we mix it here. Again we mix it thoroughly, and again we take a little of it and we put it over here. In this final culture, we see a very small amount of microorganisms growing. So there is a high chance that this microorganisms going to be pure in nature. That means all the microorganisms will be growing from the same ancestor, or they may be from the same variety. Remember, pure culture or a single colony, they are all of the same type of microorganism. The difference between a colony and the whole culture is a colony will be containing the organisms from the same ancestor. Each of the colony can be having organisms from the same ancestor, but the whole group can be from different ancestors, but they are all the same kind of bacteria or same kind of microorganism. So here also Joseph Lister did a serial dilution technique, and he was the first person to show a pure culture in a milk media. But that was a very tedious job. Serial culturing is not a very easy job. It is going to be taking a lot of amount of time. First of all, it's tedious. So these are the disadvantages of serial culture. It is tedious job. It is quite uncertain. We may not get a pure culture, and this is only possible if the microorganism that I want to isolate, they are a lot in number. So the microorganism has to be the dominating one in this whole group of pure mixed cultures. So basically we take a mixed culture over here, say we take many cultures over here. So if this green one I want to isolate, so I am having a chance that the green one has decreased over here. Okay, then again I am culturing it over here, so I am having green ones again, and finally over here I just have the green ones. Okay, so to get this final result, I need to have this culturing done in such a way that the microorganisms that I want to isolate, they has to be in the most in number. Then only this is a possibility. There is an uncertain theory that I may get a pure culture in the final technique. So that's how we isolate from a mixed culture, we are getting a pure culture. Now this is a very uncertain job. Now next person who was to discover the solid media was actually Robert Koch. So again Robert Koch is coming into the picture. So now we'll see the work of Robert Koch. Now he was the person to first talk about the solid nutrient media. So to understand the solid nutrient media, we need to know how something is solid, or how this media can be, nutrient media can be solid. It is because when we give some solidifying agent. So this solidifying agent that we are going to be using, normally that we use in our lab is agar. But that time when Robert Koch was initially doing experiments, he used gelatin as the solid nutrient media. Initially, before gelatin or before agar, he also grew these microorganisms in solid fruits and vegetables, or slices of boiled potato and all this. So when Robert Koch used gelatin, he found that gelatin has one disadvantage as a liquid media, as a solid media, solidifying agent. The disadvantage that gelatin had, that when we add gelatin, gelatin is going to be solidified at temperature around 28 to 30 degrees centigrade. Below this temperature, gelatin is solid, but when it is above this temperature, that means say around 37 degrees centigrade, it becomes liquid. Now, when we need to grow some microorganisms that causes diseases in human beings, they are mostly 37 degrees centigrade. They mostly grow in 37 degrees centigrade. So if these organisms are growing in 37 degrees centigrade and I have a solidifying agent which is going to solidify only below 30 degrees centigrade, and at 37 degrees centigrade it is liquid, so my microorganisms won't be growing in this kind of place because it is going to be liquid. So what is the use over here? It is not solid anymore. So we need it to be solid. Hence it would be disadvantage for us if I want to grow those microorganisms that causes diseases in human beings or that are growing in temperature above 30 degrees centigrade. So there he used one more substance, agar. Now both gelatin and agar, they are used to make jellies. The jelly-like consistency that we see in jellies, that semi-fluid consistency, is actually brought about by agar or gelatin, the edible ones. So the agar that we are going to be using over here will also give a jelly-like consistency to our culture media. So that will be creating a solid surface on which the microorganisms can easily be grown. And then these microorganisms can be used for different functions. So the reason of using agar was that agar was also an inert substance. That means it won't be reacting with anything, and most importantly it will be taking more temperature, higher temperature to solidify, and if it is solid it won't be creating any trouble, so it can be fine. So this is all about the agar and gelatin. Now other than this, there was one more thing that Robert Koch discovered, one more microbiological technique that he discovered was, this is another microbiological technique, that is staining. Staining you have done with slices of stems and roots in your lower classes. It is simply coloring of any specimen that we want to see under the microscope. So Robert Koch understood that if we stain something, then specifically the microorganisms, then we can see them under the microscope more clearly and it is much more visible accurately. So that is also given by Robert Koch. Okay, so that's all. Thank you.